Hello, let's do Wordle number 940, and we had a badminton theme. And so we are continuing our ranks grants section where I talk about the theme a little bit before we actually do the solve. So this is what I've come up with. I didn't know that much about badminton, so this is pretty interesting. I looked into the history of it mostly on Wikipedia, so if you read the Wikipedia article, you're going to get this same information. But here we go. So first of all, badminton, if you haven't encountered it, is a game that's kind of like tennis. You still use a racket, there's still a net that you're hitting something over, but instead of a ball, you use something that's called either a shuttlecock or a birdie, depending on your region. And it's generally a ball with like these feathers attached to it, or like this plastic net if you get like one of the cheaper ones that are used for practice or more casual games. It changes the aerodynamics of it quite significantly, so you gotta hit it from like underneath, and then it kind of flies over in kind of an arc, much more than like in tennis where you can like really just hit it across very quickly like a ball. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting variation of that kind of game. The modern game of badminton, as it's played now, was developed by British citizens living in India during India's occupation by the British. Sometime in the mid-1800s. It's not clear exactly when, but it kind of was developed over that time period. The name is named after the Duke of Beaufort's Badminton House in Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire is probably how that's pronounced. But it's not really known why it was named after that. Probably just had to do with popularization. But there was an earlier game usually called Battledore and Shuttlecock. And other very similar games, basically using a similar like ball with feather attached, as well as other games that used a ball instead of that shuttlecock. But it's been played for around 2,000 years, as far as we can tell. It was popular in India, China, Japan, and Siam, which is modern-day Thailand. The Japanese variant of the game is called Hanutsuki. It was also a similar game was played by the North American indigenous people, including the I'm going to butcher these names, but Kwakiol, Pima, Salish, and Zuni people. They were often played with a feathered shuttle that was made of corn husk or twigs. Additionally, children all over the world have been playing this for a long time, and there's even been ancient drawings of it found depicted in Greece. So there you go. So very, very old game with a rich history. Of course, the British decide to formalize it and name it after themselves, but there we go. So yeah, the modern game is based off of how the British in India formalized it. So pretty neat. All right, so for our Wordle to start based on badminton, Sarah Lawlin suggested court because you play on a court, and the shuttlecock can also be called a birdie, although it's usually spelled B-A-I-R-D-I-E, and unfortunately, I did not realize birdie is not an accepted word. So we're going to start with birds instead. There we go. Okay, nothing from birds. So we have a U and a C. I'm thinking the unch trap. So what do we have? We've got punch, hunch, lunch, munch. If it's just those four, I could gamble it. But I feel like today, I'm just going to do a filler. So let's get it in 4. So if we use the H, we have to make sure we use it first. What would be fun is doing humph. Because not only does that check the H, M, and P for hunch, munch, and punch, but it makes sure it ends in H to make sure we're actually the unch trap. That's really good. I like that. Well, if it is the unch trap, which it seems like it is, then it has to be lunch. All right. Are you watching this while you have lunch? Maybe. It's a little bit late for lunch, probably. Nice. Okay, got it in 4. It's been a while since I did like a filler right away, but it's cool to like the unstrap can be really dangerous. It's nice that I recognized it early and was able to do a filler early for it. Really, the only thing like I didn't use the C, but otherwise it was kind of a hard mode. Like, not really. I would have had to incorporate the C somehow. I don't think I could have done a perfect filler, but I may have been able to come up with something. Or just in hard mode, I probably would have done hunch to start with, gotten the unch, and then done lunch or munch or what was the other one? I don't remember. Punch, right? I would have just gone through them. Anyway, cool. Got in 4. Yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed the ranked rants at the start. Just a little information. Sometimes I need to learn about it too before I tell you about it. I didn't really know much about badminton. I did play it a little bit in, was it middle school or high school? It doesn't matter. It was in school at some point, some grade school. We would play it sometimes like during gym class and stuff, but I don't think we ever really played it beyond just like hitting it over the net back and forth. Anyway, let's spin the wheel of themes and see what I'm going to be ranting about tomorrow. All right. Ooh, villains. What am I going to talk about with villains? We'll see. So Nanomatter suggested a villains theme, so 2 words related to villains in some way. And of course, if you enjoyed this, then why not leave a like, subscribe, and a kind comment below.